A good Wednesday morning to you. It's time now for Storm Watch. Yesterday we watched a few big thunderstorms developing around the country and a chance for a few more hefty thunderstorms today, some of which could cause some serious problems with flooding. And we'll say more about that coming up in just a few moments. But first of all, it's time now for your tropical update. And we do have several features of interest this morning in the tropics. First of all, several tropical waves continue to work their way across the Atlantic basin and then sliding in across the Caribbean. This morning we have one tropical wave that continues to work its way right across central sections of Central America, and a lot of that energy, though, is now spilling westbound on into the eastern sections of the Pacific. There's yet another tropical wave, though, coming in across the Lesser Antilles, and yet a third tropical wave that continues to approach South America. Now, in closer inspection, this tropical wave that had been across the Caribbean, we've been monitoring that particular tropical wave for several days now. But once again, it continues to work its way over land, so development is very, very unlikely. However, the northern fringes of this tropical wave will cause a few flare-ups, maybe some scattered showers or thunderstorms around the Bay of Campeche. Now, especially though, what we're watching is the possibility for most of this energy and moisture to be spreading out towards the eastern Pacific. And as this tropical wave does emerge over the eastern Pacific, we'll have to watch out for the possibility for some development, especially if the convection persists for the next couple of days. Meanwhile, though, we have signs of a huge trough, this huge upper tropospheric trough that continues to persist across parts of the Caribbean, and that is causing some very strong wind shear. At least in this instance, we're seeing some southwesterly winds coming in across the eastern Caribbean, and that will help to preclude the development of a tropical wave around the Lesser Antilles. Nonetheless, though, we will see some squally weather and some scattered showers and thunder showers flaring up around the islands, at least for today. Farther out towards the east, a very impressive tropical wave that is now approaching the northern sections of South America. And again, because it is so far to the south and so close to land, development is not very likely here. But with these thunderstorms, we'll definitely see some rough weather conditions today around Trinidad and Tobago. Then eventually all that moisture will slide over towards northern sections of Venezuela in the next 24 hours or so. So some messy weather, but definitely nothing showing any signs of development. So that is good news as far as the tropics are concerned. Shifting gears, we head towards the East Pacific. There's been one area of convection well to the south and west of the coastline of Mexico. We've been watching this little cluster for the last day or so. We'll have to watch it still rather closely. Then again, we have the energy that's going to be coming off Central America from the remnants of that tropical wave. And as I was mentioning just a few moments ago, if the convection can persist around this region, it could quite possibly develop into something. This is certainly an area that is a typical breeding ground for tropical storm development. So again, we'll have to watch this area rather closely in the next day or so. As we head towards the West Pacific, we have two tropical systems here, two tropical depressions. First of all, a tropical depression to the east-northeast of Luzon in the Philippines. This one is likely to strengthen and perhaps become a tropical storm within the next 24 hours. There's another tropical depression, though, located in the South China Sea. This one is also forecast to strengthen, and it could make landfall somewhere in China, we think, in the next 2 to 3 days. So we'll watch these situations as well across the West Pacific. Meanwhile, as we head over towards the lower 48, here too, some active weather to talk about. We see a large area of moisture, lots of showers and thunderstorms flaring up this morning in parts of Kansas and Oklahoma. That will be lasting for a good part of the day. And more moisture, too, continues to slide across the Tennessee Valley, the Mid-South, and the Northeast. And throughout the day, maybe some stormy weather conditions. We might even see some severe weather around the Tidewater of Virginia, the nation's capital, on into the outer banks of North Carolina. A few strong thunderstorms, too, could be rumbling across the southeast. And also a chance for some very nasty weather in parts of the Plain States and the Rockies. We're definitely seeing more monsoonal moisture flowing up towards the Four Corners area, and that makes for an increasingly very unstable weather pattern. In the Plain States this morning, showers and thunderstorms rolling in across Wichita, Tulsa, McAllister, Bartlesville, Oklahoma, seeing some thunderstorms, and actually some showers and thunder showers draped southward towards the Red River Valley of Texas. Now, luckily, we think most of this activity will stay north of Dallas, so the Big D not looking too bad today, but the thunderstorms will be persisting for a good part of the afternoon through Oklahoma City. Meanwhile, a batch of showers, too, rolling in across Kentucky and Tennessee. Showers this morning from just south of Lexington on into London, Kentucky. We've had some sloppy weather, too, near Nashville. So if you're traveling off to work this morning, be careful as these showers work their way eastward. And more rains, too, flaring up across the northeast. Right now, not much happening around Boston, but you'll likely see some rains very shortly, and some rains, too, approaching the New York City metro area. Stay with us. We'll check out weather conditions from coast to coast, and we'll check out more about the possibility for severe weather. It's coming up next on Weather Center.
Heavy rains move from the Midwest to the Northeast. Will the storms turn severe? Find out next on Weather Center after your local forecast.
Anne Klein Eyewear by Luxottica. What do you want people to see?
I want you to see fearlessness.
The unexpected.
I want you to see you don't need words to make a statement.
Let them see you in Anne Klein Eyewear by Luxottica.
So we'll have a ridge of high pressure right here in the middle of the country.
Are Fridays always like this? This place is nuts.
Well, it's going to be a wet day in the northeast with showers and possibly a few thunderstorms spreading across much of the region. Good morning, I'm Bruce Edwards and welcome to Weather Center, sponsored by the Carpet and Rug Institute.
And I'm Cheryl Lemke. Meanwhile, across the Midwest, it's going to be a nice day today, now that the unsettled weather has moved out of your region. And also today, Tampa will see another hot day and could see some thunderstorms later, while Chicago will be partly cloudy and warm. Baltimore is already seeing some heavy rain this morning, and Boston will see some showers later. And now with more details, here's Bruce.
All right, thanks, Cheryl. We take a look at the satellite picture, and it shows the clouds overspreading from New York and Pennsylvania and Jersey into southern New England. The rain hasn't quite made it all through New England yet. As a matter of fact, it's just trickling on in New York City and down towards D.C. But you look back to Ohio, it's looking pretty good. A lot of fair weather. Indiana, Illinois, into Wisconsin, and Michigan as well. That's good news for Detroit. Just got hammered by heavy rains, closed parts of the airport, flooded around the airport yesterday, Detroit Metro Airport, and had a flash flood watch out because of heavy flooding around Romulus early this morning. That flood warning has since expired. But if you look back to the west, well, we've got a whole bunch of cloud cover. Nebraska and Kansas, bright white clouds, generally indicative of thunderstorms, and that's indeed what's happening on the tail end of the front. It's got a real bite to that tail, that's for sure. But in the middle, it's pretty quiet. The low is moving through with the trough, and that's scouring out any kind of showers and storms across Indiana and Illinois. Fog is a big problem, though, in areas that picked up some wet weather. You get through the Mississippi Valley, and you get around, Terre Haute. There's some fog there this morning. You get up from the Twin Cities to Duluth and the Arrowhead. It's a little soupy there, where we had rain yesterday in Michigan from the Thumb. And down towards Grand Rapids and Lansing and Detroit, you got some fog to contend with, so be careful. Speaking of which, a little bit of that dotting the coastal regions of Maine and back up towards Caribou. But the rain is working its way across New York State now, and into New York City. LaGuardia Airport reported a little bit of light rain during the last hour, and more substantial rains as you get into Pennsylvania down towards Baltimore and D.C. Here you can see, once again, some showers now moving into the Big Apple, so this is the harbinger of things to come. More rain where that came from. And then north from Albany across the Thruway to Buffalo, it's generally going to be a wet trip here today as we have showery weather. Mainly showers here. South of it, this is where you get to the thunderstorms. Once you get towards Philly and Baltimore and Washington, some heavy downpours, especially around Harrisburg and over to Westchester. So be careful on the main line today. The Beltway in Baltimore and I-95 down through Richmond is going to be wet. It's wet around Charlottesville, and we see some showers coming across the mountains towards Roanoke. Now, Pittsburgh's okay right now as most of the wet weather's moved on to the east. A few showers skirting the Cleveland metro area as some moisture whips across Lake Erie. And as the front trails through the Tennessee Valley and the Cumberland Plateau, there's some rain and storms between Bowling Green and Nashville, extending on over towards London and Corbin, Kentucky. So parts of I-75 and I-40 are definitely wet. And then as you follow the tail end of the front, we see some storms around Wichita and some wet weather near North Platte, and there'll be more where that came from later this afternoon. Cheryl?
You'll endure another day of very hot weather across the south, with temperatures soaring above the century mark in much of Texas. In addition, some parts of the southeast will see some scattered thunderstorms, including Florida. And the wildfire situation remains very dangerous in Florida, but firefighters may be getting the upper hand in some areas. For example, crews say about 60% of the fires in Flagler County have now been contained. The concern, however, is that without a good soaking rain, the fires may flare up again. Our satellite picture this morning, though, still revealing that we've got a little bit of moisture out there, especially along the west central coast of Florida. We have some clouds and some lighter showers flaring up this morning. And believe it or not, some of this moisture that we've been seeing feeding in across Florida is partly attributed to a tropical wave that's been drifting across the central Caribbean. Now, though, it's working its way across Central America. But some of that tropical moisture has been shunted northward, and again, that helped to aid with some shower and thunderstorm development. And we'll say more about that tropical wave coming up with a tropical update at about 10 minutes before the hour. But again, right now, some beneficial rains flaring up primarily over the west central coast of Florida. We've had some rain around Tampa Bay, Pinellas Park, over towards St. Petersburg and Sarasota. So again, some good rains coming in for some parts of Florida. And actually, as we look back in time, yesterday it was the first day in quite a while that we had some fairly substantial rains in some parts of Florida. Parts of central and southern Florida did pick up on the average of anywhere between a half an inch to an inch of rain. Even heavier rains, though, fell west of Fort Lauderdale. And we had some really soaking rains, too, around the Tampa area, with some locales picking up over 4 inches of rain. Now, again, we've had some rain, but unfortunately, it's not enough to totally alleviate the wildfires, but it will help to ease the situation just a little bit down across the state. For the most part, though, we have high pressure controlling most of the south, keeping it rather quiet. But with the sea breeze kicking in across Florida and that high heat and high humidity, there will be still some scattered showers and thunderstorms likely during the afternoon. But elsewhere, kind of quiet this morning around Dallas and Houston, but just to your north, we have a trough of low pressure that's been sparking out some shower and thunderstorm activity around the Texas Panhandle, then over towards central Oklahoma. Still some thunderstorms rumbling around Tulsa, Bartlesville, over towards Fayetteville, Arkansas. Thunderstorms around Oklahoma City and all the way down towards the Red River. So watch out on a very slow morning commute as the rains have been coming down fairly consistently over parts of Oklahoma this morning. And as we look at temperatures, warm and sticky and sultry across the south. Right now, 70s and 80s, 76 for Tampa, 80 for Miami, 76 for Atlanta. And a sticky start to your day, too, for Dallas with 83 degrees. And by this afternoon, 90s and 100s enveloping most of the south. So again, take it slow and easy as the heat index into the dangerous category. Today, we're watching a front gradually working its way over towards the eastern seaboard. Rains picking up today from New England through the mid-Atlantic. And again, maybe some welcome rains, too, down across the southeast. Some of the rains today will be locally heavy for parts of the mid-Atlantic and the northeast, and flash flood watches have been posted for parts of Pennsylvania. And more substantial rains, too, across the plains. Hot, very sultry, very summery across the south, but to the north, temperatures rather comfortable. Today, if you're heading towards Boston, Hartford, Providence, or New York City, pack along the umbrellas. You don't have the rain right now, but it's going to be coming in very shortly. Showers and thunderstorms scattered about the southeast for today. Hot weather for Texas, and then some big thunderstorms likely across the plains.
Well, make sure your morning commute goes nice and smooth.
And stay tuned. We'll check out the latest travel trouble spots coming up in a moment on Travel-Wise.
This program was sponsored by the Carpet and Rug Institute.
Hey, move over. Ow, hey.
You're sitting on my hand.
Hello, it's my space. Not anymore. Move over. Come on, you're on my side. You're squishing me. Hey, watch it.
Down in front.
Mom, there's nowhere to sit.
New carpet is soft, warm, and very popular. New carpet, it just feels better.
So we'll have a ridge of high pressure right here in the middle of the country.
Are Fridays always like this?
Oh.
This place is nuts.
Oh, yeah.
Who are those guys over there?
Oh, they're here every Friday. They're huge weekend Outlook fans.
To the eastern part of
it's on. Oh, here we go.
Now let's take a look at what's on tap for your weekend.
Warm.
Come on, baby K. Stay cool. Stay cool.
I think
Stay
you're
cool.
going to like this one. It's going to be
warm.
Texas.
Hello, warm weather right there. Who looks ridiculous now?
I've been studying hurricanes for an adult lifetime, the better part of 30 years now. To do this kind of work, you have to love what you're doing, and you have to have a feeling for your viewers, make them understand what the real danger is of hurricanes.
Tropical weather systems are affected by so many variables.
We constantly monitor the situation. Wind direction, wind speed, changes in direction, change it to strength.
We never say more than we know. That's dangerous. Get someone that's safer by watching the Weather Channel. That's what it's all about.
Now your local forecast on the Weather Channel.
Oh, heavy rain is making its way towards Philadelphia this morning. Major cities of the Northeast will have a common weather feature, and we'll have some form of precipitation today, is what I want to say. Good morning and welcome to Weather Center. I'm Mike Motley.
And I'm Mark Mancuso. There'll still be stormy weather ahead for the mid-Atlantic states as a cold front presses south. Florida, however, we'll find the much-needed rain is still going to be hit and miss. Well, Tampa had a little rain this morning, and there could be more storms later today. Fog dense this morning in Indianapolis. Stormy weather is on tap for Washington, D.C., and showers on the way for Hartford, Connecticut. Mike has more from the Northeast.
And looking at the northeast, we're seeing some heavy rain move through Pennsylvania and on its way towards Philadelphia. We've seen light rain around Philadelphia and already, but more on the way. The heaviest rain towards Harrisburg, PA, and down towards Baltimore, both receiving about an inch or more of rainfall, with light rain on the way for New York City. And looking at the rainfall estimates, we are seeing heavy rain into southeastern Pennsylvania, making its way towards Philadelphia, light showers in northern New York, or northern New Jersey towards New York, and some lighter rain towards Washington, D.C., around 1/4 of an inch towards Dulles International Airport. The closer view shows the rain line back into northern Virginia and the light showers towards the district, and the heavier rain leaving Baltimore going across the Chesapeake Bay, and the heavier showers up towards Philadelphia, making their way towards New York City. We'll take a live view of New York City and show you what it looks like this morning. Our view of the Brooklyn Bridge, you're seeing cloudy skies there and a little light rain. The streets are damp from showers. Now you need to keep your rain gear handy if you're out and about today. The rain will be increasing as the morning rolls along. Cloudy skies in the Big Apple this morning. Now looking at our view of western Pennsylvania, we've seen showers, light showers around Pittsburgh, pushing towards the east. Heavy rain and thunderstorms towards Erie and moving towards Buffalo into western New York, and we're seeing drier skies finally around Cleveland as light showers hang out around Youngstown. And looking at New York State, that band of thunderstorms along the New York State Thruway, so be careful on that if you're on the commute around Rochester and going towards Buffalo or towards Syracuse. You're seeing rainfall there, and a couple of light showers in the Finger Lakes region in northern New York. Boston's been lucky so far, no rainfall in Beantown, but you'll see rain later on today. And merely light to moderate showers, not so much thunderstorms, except around right into western New York State. We're seeing more lightning strikes there, but mainly light to moderate rain into the eastern portion of the east. And your temperature is 68 in Boston, 69 in New York City, and 67 in Philadelphia, also 67 in Washington, D.C. And there's that the low pressure cell that's helping to fuel the rainfall and that frontal boundary and all the activity in advance of that. Now look at the southeast and the west. Here's Mark.
All right, thanks a lot, Mike. And temperatures in the 90s and over 100 degrees will be the general rule in the south. And some parts of the southeast could see storms as that cold front sinks in from the north, but it doesn't look like we'll see much relief from that heat in the south, at least not for today. Early this morning, very steamy weather to be found in Little Rock, Arkansas, and in Dallas, Texas. We're still in the 80s. Temperatures eased down from the 90s to the upper 80s just during the past couple of hours. So these are the coolest temperatures that we have seen overnight and early this morning. And adding in the moisture, it feels like 91 in Little Rock, and it already feels like 92 in Panama City, and it feels like 94 in Miami. So it's going to be another day of dangerous heat in the south, and of course, if you're indoors, eat small, frequent meals. Salads are good, and if you're outside, make sure you have plenty of water. Yesterday, temperatures in the shade in the 100s from Memphis to Del Rio. These were all record highs for the date, and today, well, we don't see any real big change. Here's a trough coming in from the north. This is gathering the moisture and lifting it up. And we're seeing clouds and showers and storms here in Tennessee and in Oklahoma. But they are pushing into northwest Arkansas. Around Tampa, we saw some storms this morning, but as you can see, lightning data shows the lightning hits gone or offshore. And in Flagler County in Florida, still problems with the fires in through here. Rain so far in Florida still isn't enough to douse the flames or change the drought conditions in many areas. Thousands of firefighters are still working fire lines across the state. The soil and remaining brush are so dry, the risk of a flare remains very high. Storms that could bring more rain could easily start new fires from lightning. Here's a look at the radar for you. Wet weather pulling away from Tampa now, but we expect more showers and storms to fire over the peninsula this afternoon as the sea breezes get active. Here's the trough coming down through Tennessee. Wet weather here. Where you see the darker green, the yellow, that's where it's raining pretty hard. Pretty wet on I-40 this morning and in the northern suburbs of Nashville. Oklahoma City, rain easing off, but in Tulsa, still soggy here, but the worst of the storms have slipped eastward into Arkansas with the heavy rain now in the Ozarks. In the tropics, we've been watching a tropical wave move westward. Still hasn't developed. Now it's interacting with the land areas. We'll have a complete update on the tropics at 50 minutes past the hour in Storm Watch. Mike?
Hey, looking at the forecast for the midday, we're going to see our low-pressure cell continue to track towards the east with our front moving towards the south and east. A chance for some thunderstorms below that system into North and South Carolina. Then more rainfall for